What if I told you there's a hidden war happening right now, one you can't see, one that's shaping nations, delaying prayers, and revealing secrets about the end of the world? This is not fiction. This is not mythology. This comes straight from one of the most mysterious passages in the Bible, a moment when a man named Daniel pulled back the curtain and saw something terrifying and incredibly revealing. Daniel wasn't a king. He wasn't a warrior. He was a captive. As a young man, he had been taken from Jerusalem and brought into Babylon, an empire filled with power, wealth, and idol worship. Everything around him was designed to make him forget God. But Daniel never did. He rose through the ranks, not by compromise, but by faithfulness. Even in a foreign land surrounded by pressure and danger, Daniel stayed committed to God. Years passed. Kingdoms changed. Babylon fell. The Medo-Persian Empire took over, but Daniel remained. By now, Daniel was old, likely in his 80s, but his hunger for God had not faded. One day, while reading the writings of the prophet Jeremiah, Daniel discovered something powerful. The time of Israel's exile was coming to an end. But instead of celebrating, he felt troubled. The restoration didn't look the way he expected. The people were still struggling. The future seemed uncertain. Something felt wrong. So Daniel did what he always did. He prayed. But this wasn't a simple prayer. This was deep, intense, desperate seeking. For 21 days, Daniel fasted. No rich food, no meat, no wine, just humility, mourning, and seeking God with everything he had. 3 full weeks of crying out and hearing nothing. Silence. Have you ever felt like that? Like your prayers are going nowhere? Daniel felt it too. But what he didn't know was that something massive was happening behind the scenes. On the 24th day, everything changed. Daniel was standing near the Tigris River when suddenly he saw a figure, a man clothed in linen, glowing with brilliance. His body shimmered like precious stones. His face flashed like lightning. His eyes burned like fire. His voice sounded like a roaring crowd. This was no ordinary being. Even the men with Daniel, though they couldn't see the figure, were overwhelmed with fear and ran away. Daniel was left alone, trembling. All his strength left him. His face turned pale. He collapsed to the ground. Then a hand touched him. The being spoke. "Daniel, you are highly valued. Do not be afraid." After 21 days of silence, the first words Daniel hears are reassurance. You matter. You are seen. Then came the revelation that changes everything. From the first day you began to pray, your words were heard, and I have come because of your prayers. From the first day, not day 21, not after the fasting, day 1. But then came the shocking truth. The prince of Persia resisted me for 21 days. This wasn't a human king. No human could block a heavenly messenger. This was something else, something spiritual. The Bible reveals that behind earthly kingdoms, there are unseen forces at work. The Prince of Persia was a powerful spiritual entity influencing the Persian Empire, a demonic force, and for 21 days, it stood in the way of Daniel's answered prayer. Then the messenger says something even more incredible. I was delayed until Michael came to help me. This wasn't just resistance. This was war, a battle in the unseen realm. On one side, a messenger sent by God. On the other, a powerful spiritual force controlling a kingdom. And then came Michael, a warrior, one of the most powerful angels described in the Bible. When Michael stepped in, the battle shifted. The messenger broke through. Daniel's answer arrived. Think about what this means. Daniel prayed, and God heard him immediately. But the answer was delayed, not because God ignored him, but because there was a battle. How many times have we assumed silence means God isn't listening? What if something is happening behind the scenes? This moment teaches a powerful truth. Delay is not denial. Sometimes your breakthrough is being fought over. Sometimes the answer is already on the way, but it's being resisted. and your persistence matters. Daniel didn't stop after a few days. He kept going, and his consistency aligned with the breakthrough. Now here's where this connects to the end times. If spiritual forces were influencing empires back then, what about now? The Bible tells us that in the last days, the conflict between good and evil will intensify. There will be deception, division, global tension, and behind it all, spiritual warfare. Daniel's experience shows us that the world we see is not the full picture. There are unseen influences shaping what happens around us. And as the end approaches, that battle will grow stronger. Look at the world today. Nations rising against nations. Confusion everywhere. Truth being blurred. It's easy to think it's all political or social. But Daniel reveals there's another layer, a spiritual one. The Prince of Persia wasn't just about one kingdom. It represents a pattern, spiritual forces influencing human systems. And if that was happening then, imagine the scale now. Remember Michael, the one who came to help? He appears again in prophecy. In the final days, he stands up during a time of trouble, unlike anything the world has ever seen. This tells us something important. As darkness increases, so does God's intervention. The battle intensifies, but so does heaven's response. This story isn't just about Daniel, it's about reality. It means your life is not just physical, it's spiritual. Your struggles may have deeper causes than you realize. Your prayers are not empty words, and your persistence carries power. If Daniel had given up early, he might never have seen the breakthrough, but he stayed consistent. And what he discovered changed everything. Imagine how Daniel must have felt. Old, tired, burdened, praying for weeks with no answer. Then suddenly realizing that heaven heard him from the very beginning, that the silence wasn't rejection, it was a battle. That realization turns delay into purpose, struggle into meaning. Daniel's encounter reveals how heaven and earth interact. Unseen battles shape visible outcomes, and even when things seem delayed, God is still in control. The answer wasn't lost, it was fought for. As we move closer to the end times, this story becomes a warning. Don't assume everything is purely natural. There are forces influencing hearts, minds, and systems. Discernment becomes crucial. Faith becomes essential. And prayer becomes more important than ever. But here is the hope. For every force of darkness, there is a greater power on God's side. The battle is real, but it is not equal. God is still sovereign, and in the end, He wins. So the next time you pray and feel like nothing is happening, remember Daniel. Remember the 21 days. Remember the unseen battle. And remember this. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Your prayers may be part of something bigger than you can imagine. A battle beyond your sight. A breakthrough on its way, and maybe the delay you're experiencing right now is proof that something powerful is being fought over on your behalf.